Hey, what's up guys, the Young Dragon here, and I welcome you all to my next video, or today's video, of on my page to Armory. The weapon I'll be covering up is the American MAC-10/11, and I'll tell, and I have a reason why I call it with both. The MAC-11, or MAC-10, MAC-11, whatever you like to call it, or the Military Armament Corporation Model 10, and of course the 11 would be that, is a fully automatic weapon, and it's a very high rate of fire. Of course, it's made in the United States, and it was of course more designed to be a little more compact to fire the 45 ACP. I'll get to the differences between the two of the MAC-10 and 11 in a bit. So that's actually pretty interesting. There's a little interesting story with the MAC-10, and this also a very interesting story with the Warbell Suppressor. Of course, this is probably the most iconic suppressed SMG, or the look of it, especially with the suppressor right there. Of course, I will get into it as I cover up the attachments. So the reason I want to call it that is, well, the MAC-10 fires a 45 ACP, while the MAC-11 fires a .380 ACP. So it's 9 by 17 millimeter round, which is a little different. And you could probably say this is almost look like a model of the Uzi, or you could say this is like an American version of an Uzi, except it definitely shoots more faster than the regular Uzi. So let's actually get into the models. So by the looks of it, now this is actually a hybrid between the MAC-10 and the MAC-11. You could see there's some writing on here. Now we have the fire selector. It says, looks like it's pointing to full. I presume there's no single shot. I presume there is, but there's also safety. You can also see the safety on the left side here, and it's really hard to see by the lighting. But let me see if I can get closer. Don't know really. But I figure if you push one of the buttons to either to fire or safe, it will either fire the weapon or locked it on safe. And now there's this little piece here. You can see the little piece just below the barrel, like this little small rectangular shape that it looks like it fit for like a sling wrapped around it. You can actually use that as a foregrip if you have a sling. So that way you can use your have your left hand to hold it instead of holding it like a machine pistol. And this is what this weapon basically is a machine pistol. And we see there's more writings in here. It says RPG Industries, Inc., Lantius, HF, Goza, SN. I presume this is where the weapon was actually made in. And of course we have the retraceable, retractable folding stock. And yes, this stock can be folded up, but sadly we can't do this in game. But it's a nice little feature. Would have been nice to have. And you can see at the back of the gun it says caliber 45 ACP. So this would have been, well, basically converted with the lower receiver of the MAC-10, while still keeping the compact size of the MAC-11. And we see we got even more readings here. In grid, ML, which is of course the MAC-11. Caliber 45 ACP, auto, military armament corp. So there's the actual name of the weapon. Pulver Galan, GLHUSA. I'm not sure what the H is for the USA, but of course that's what. And there's the A. I'm not really sure what just the letter A in there stands for. And of course we have the telescopic telescopic bolt, just like the Uzi. Of course, you charge up from the top, and that's what makes it such more compact. And it fires from an open bolt, so you can see the bolt is clearly open. And funny enough, you can actually see the little primer, the little pole sticking out. That's the primer. That's where it will ping the case of the cartridge to shoot out of the chamber inside the gun. You can see there's the chamber, and of course when we look deeper inside the gun, you can actually see the actual 3D bullet of the 45 ACP. And despite that the weapon is in a 20 round magazine, it magically holds 40 rounds. So let's actually look at the stats of the Mac 10. And for this case, I will call this weapon the Mac 10 because there's another weapon that's already similar to it. I'll just bring it up for example. That is going to be, of course, Jack's Piece, which is basically, it's a Cobra M11. So I call this one the Mac 11 just for it. So that's a little, of course, I will talk about this weapon in a later video. So for this one, I'll call Jack's Piece the Mac 11 and call the Mark 10 the Mac 10. Especially to give it a name so I don't confuse much people. Now we have the total ammo of 40, or magazine of 40, total ammo of 160, rate of fire of 1000 RPM, damage of 58, accuracy of 48, stability of 64, concealment of 27, threat of 10, and reload time of 2.7 seconds. So this is a medium damage SMG, but definitely has a really good time to kill for a medium damage SMG. It's mostly get outclassed, or mostly the only things that are much more faster in terms of the time to kill for the medium SMGs is both the Mac 11 and the Vector, which they shoot 200 more faster. And of course I have my, a few of them. I got my fully decked out Mac 10. You can see my stats is already increased overall. After all, I did it for extra performances with certain builds. And you can see how it looks. It looks a little bit, well, it looks a little bit kind of, well, looks kind of goofy looking. But that's me for always trying to increase stats overall. And I have a stealth version of this too, which, of course, here's my stealth version, and I have to say, it actually looks pretty damn good, especially with a suppressor. Of course, with that Warbell Suppressor. So let's see the attachment you could put on to this thing. Now before I go over the other ones, I'm going to go to story with the Warbell Suppressor. So the weapon was actually designed, and the designer of the Mac 10, or the, well, I guess the Mac series, is Gordon B. Ingram. He designed the weapon, while the suppressor was actually designed by Mitchell Warbell of Xenonics, which is a company that makes suppressors. And Warbell's was looking for a weapon that could fit his suppressor on that fires from a 45 caliber round, and also they need to be very compact too, very concealed. And the Mac 10 basically fits everything. It's compact, shoots 45 ACP, and it fits pretty well. Plus, you can even use the suppressor as a type of handguard, where you can actually hold with your left hand or right hand if you're ambidextrous. And a little interesting story about the suppressors is this suppressor has a two-stage design, with the first stage being a larger than the second. This uniquely shaped suppressor gives the MAC-10 a very distinctive look, and I could say it really does. I think this is one of the few SMGs with a suppressor that gives it a much more distinctive look and very recognizable and very much iconic too, alongside with the MP5 SD. Now, of course, later on, during the 1970s, the United States placed restrictions on the export of suppressors, and a number of countries canceled their orders as the effectiveness of the MAC-10 suppressor was one of the main selling points. Ooh, yeah. This was one factor that led to the bankruptcy of the Military Armament Corporation, another being the company's failure to recognize the private market. The original Sonics suppressors is 11.44 inches in length and 2.13 inches in overall diameter, in weights of just 1.20 pounds. So yeah, a lot of people seem to like the MAC-10 or dig the MAC-10 or the MAC-11 with the suppressor. So yeah, if you don't have this, well, they're not going to go buy it. They're not going to have it, so damn. So funny enough, so that leaves a bankruptcy. After all, guns can be supermodels too. Really, they could be gorgeous as women. It's true. Anywho, let's actually get to the the barrel extensions. So it has unique suppressors. Of course, this is one of them. And we have the slotted barrel extension, so it looks a lot more different. It kind of reminds me of the barrel extension from Payday the Heist, where this MAC-10 has that. And in order to get these two, well, barrel extensions on PC, you had to buy the Hotline Miami 2 Digital Deluxe to get these two attachments, not only for this weapon, of course for Jacket's piece, but also for the MAC-10. So, okay, we got the story out of the way. Now we can actually move the other attachments. You can book any boost you want. You know, I gotta keep that suppressor on because it just looks natural. We can put our custom. Select fire. We have our railed handguard, so this gives it a extra modern, more of a modern gadget. Of course, that would allow us to give us a pigtail rail, also for top for optics, also with a different iron sights, and the bottom for, I presume, a laser sight or a foregrip. As for the gadgets, they actually mounted on the right side, and funny enough, there's this little piece here. You can see it's actually somehow welded into the weapon itself. Now, if I would have the handguard, I think this was changed, and you can see that extra rail has been gone. And it kind of makes me to think, how would it look like? Let's see. Okay, you can actually see there's a pigtail rail on the side as well. So pretty nice little cool detail. Sadly, that does not apply to most weapons, even though they do have a pigtail rail with it. In terms of the magazine, well, we got two of them. We have the extended mags and the speed pull mag. And funny enough, even though the speed pull mag looks identically the same as the extended mags, this is the only weapon, or the only speed pull mag, that actually increases a weapon's magazine capacity. Every other weapon doesn't have that. All they had is just a reload speed increase. This one has only able to carry more rounds, except for you don't have stability, but you don't lose concealment. Okay, I'm a little bit mind blown with this. How in the hell does this extended mags get a -2 concealment with this? but with a speed pull mag, which identically the same model. Bear in mind, these are the magazine model used, borrowed, or recycled from the M3 grease gun, which is another American submachine gun that fires from a 45 ACP. And when I equip a speed pull mag, it's the same magazine except you don't lose concealment, and you have this little orange thing that's brightening up. How does that not decrease concealment? Where's the logic here? Moving on, you can pick any sight you want, and of course if you put on a sight, it comes with its own little built-in scope mount. Now normally I don't like where a sight goes on top, like very much further ahead of the gun, and I'd rather have it at the very back. But these are one of the few exceptions that I'm okay with this gun because it's such compact, it's so small, it's so compact, it's perfectly fine. And you can see there's, of course, you can screw it up here, so let me take it off again. It's really, it looks pretty awkward that this can be a scope mount on this side. And somehow it actually fits together. Now, of course, making sure the scope mount accessory itself doesn't block off the MAC-10, so that's just enough room, at least, to put a scope mount on this small of this submachine gun. And of course, we put in the extra. Well, as I look at it, doesn't it just block a? Okay, this looks a little bit off because the top part of the accessory covers a bit of the chamber, and also you may notice the charging handle is completely gone with the now of course the bolt or the charging handle on top will disappear and change differently if you have the rail guard, because now you're actually able to pull the charging handle from either the left side or the right side instead. So it's still accessible, but pretty interesting. And finally, we have the Skeletal Stock. So it looks a little more different, but sadly we can't have the no stock, or we don't even have the folding stock with it, which this can retract inside the weapon. Now I presume, now you can see there's a, well, I should back out and do it again. Whoops. Now there's this button here. You can see at the very back of the pistol grip. This is where you actually press it, and the stock will retract inside the weapon. Okay, I noticed there's another, looks like a, it says RK on the circle. I didn't see that. And also this looks like it's been welded together at the back too. And you can see the button on the, on this backwards L shape of the stock. This can be folded out. So it'll be just like the Scorpion stock. Well, that's quite a big talk about the MAC-10 in the story. Alright, enough talk about the Macs. Now let's see these rapid fire bad boys in action. See you in a bit. Alright, we're at the firing range, firing off with the MAC-10. So let's get this thing loaded up and dish some rounds. Alright, going hot. Of course, when I fire in single shot, it goes over the place, and when I did fire to full, it goes over the. Of course, went a little bit to the right side, or I mean the left side. All right, now I gotta do test 2, and I'm gonna try to. And I noticed that every time I fire my weapon of the Mac, it goes up a little bit. It doesn't re-centered. So let me just try this out again. Okay, I guess that was a little bit weird. I want to see if I... Okay, I just want to test if it's single fire. It sucks that I can't tell if I'm single fire or not in HUD, but I have to remember it, so... let me just get some ammo just in case to, I don't burn out during the tests. And by burn out, I mean the MAC-10. Alright, so I gotta fire in fall this time, and of course, test 2 will be I'll just let the recoil go on its own, and I will not try to control it whatsoever. Alright, here we go. Okay, this definitely has some strong horizontal recoil. Once it shoots up, I mean, it's still controllable in vertical, but horizontal is just so bad, and I just go to the left side right here. And of course, the iron sights is, I mean, they're pretty much good for close quarters. And I know there's like little other peep sights on the rear, so I presume these are other ways you can actually look through the gun, or I'm not sure. These are supposed to be like other peepholes that you can actually look at the gun differently. Okay, now this time will be test free. This time I'll try to control the recoil on full auto. Going hot. Well, I feel like the test is, the results are essentially the same, except the horizontal recoil, the gun goes to the right this time. So let me just do it one more time without actually moving the right thumbstick. Okay, now it actually stays in the center this time, which is kind of weird. Okay, I think this weapon, I should say, have some unpredictable recoil. You see, I shoot all of it and did not go anywhere as much. Well, here, it did went just a little bit for about the first 5 shots, and then it just goes up to the right, so it has some horizontal recoil and a bit of vertical. So it is pretty wild. So, well, you see, one MAC-10 that's unpredictably crazy with the recoil. Now we have 2 MAC-10s. I guess you could say MAC-20s. Alright, let's see. And it doesn't help because I don't have anything other way to aim directly without a laser sight. Alright, so unlike the solo MAC-10s, the Akimbo MAC-10s definitely have higher vertical recoil. There's not really much horizontal as the solo versions, but the Akimbo version is definitely more crazy. And you can actually see the my left gun has the open bolt, so you could probably see the gun actually cycle through the bullet, but I'll show it a little bit more after I done it with the test. So I'm gonna do this time without controlling the recoil. Okay, there's actually a lot more bullets off the garage door. And it looks like it just made a spoon shape too. Speaking of spoon shape, that was like, if you ever grinding for like 100 kills for a melee weapon like a spoon, don't play on Death Wish. You're literally asking for Death Wish. No pun intended. And of course the recoil was basically all vertical and then went a little bit horizontal to the left. Alright, now this time I'll try to... Okay, let me just grab more ammo again because I don't know how much ammo I have left. And when I sprint, these are weird to see them sprint like this. What the heck? I'm sorry, it's just so funny because I presume not everyone's gonna run the... I think it's what? I think it's lock and load basic where you're able to you can able to hip fire while sprinting, so it's a little different, but alright. Now anyway, test free. This time I will try to control the recoil. And it's definitely hard to do because, well, of course I'm using a controller, but not only that is I'm trying to predict how strong the recoil can be, because if I try to pull down like in an instant, then I feel like I'm just shooting on the floor. So it's definitely much more better than the test 2, so let me try this again of controlling it. Alright, a little bit better. Alright, I guess I could show off the round. Now if I could pay attention to the left side. You can actually see the, well, the bolt kind of move a little bit on the left. And that's, well, there goes the disappearing of the 45 casing again. I'm out of ammo. Well, well, these are it for the Mac 10s. Now I'll show you my fully decked out Mac 10. And I won't show off the akimbo versions with them. Maybe I will, but these are a little more different because the akimbo versions you can't have a sight on, and most of the time you can't have a stock. But there are a few weapons that have the exception that you can use a stock on the akimbos. But anyways, we'll see you in a sec. Alright, I'm back, and here's my fully decked out Mac 10, including the akimbo versions. Now you can see a little bit more differently, and funny enough, I have the extra rail, even though there's the iron sight, but you can see the sights are really look far off with the top a bit. But of course here it does look a little bit fixed, but now it may look a little more different. Alright, enough talk, let's test this out. Going hot. Yeah, I did try to try fire in single shot, but sometimes you may hear 2 shots. That's because I have the auto fire locked only on full auto. And alright, here we go, test 2. Without controlling the recoil. Okay. Alright, it's definitely did control for a while, but then for the last few magazines, it's starting to went a little bit up to the right. Alright, the test free. I'll try to control the recoil this time. Open fire. Alright, so I did move a little bit down here, but definitely look a lot better than having a little bit of a horizontal and move a little bit up to the left or right. And now for the fun time with these big bad boys. goes all straight up. It's pretty crazy. Alright, now this time I'll try to control the recoil. I'll wait for these bullet mark goes away. Alright, here we go. A little bit better. Better than trying to shoot all the way up to the sky. But of course, there's like a maximum you reach. Well, that's it for, well, weapon going loud. Now I'm gonna see the sexy model of this weapon with its suppressor. See you in a sec. Alright, I'm back with the MAC-10, and this time with the Warbell Suppressor. And I have to say, it actually looks pretty damn, well, unique. And honestly, if I was a buyer who really likes a MAC-10, I definitely want to get one with a suppressor. Anywho, let's test this out. Pretty good. Pretty sound quiet to me. I feel like the most thing you hear from it is the casing hitting the surface. Alright, here we go. Test 2 about controlling the recoil. Well, it went, it definitely went a little bit, course, diagonally to the left and shoot all around, so definitely has some still unpredictable recoil. And now for test 3, when I'm trying to control the recoil this time. Alright, going hot. Now it feels similar to the base MAC-10. So it's pretty, well, it's pretty damn quiet. Let me see, you can actually hear the, of course you can hear the suppressor, but the only thing you're also hearing is the casing. And most of the time, the only thing you're hearing from a suppressed gun is the action itself, where the bolt keeps hitting back and forth. It's mostly the action of the gun that you mostly hear the most than the, well, than the fire coming out the end of the muzzle. Well, that's enough for enough playtime with the MAC-10, and I'll give you guys my my conclusion to the MAC-10, and if it's really that very viable SMG. See you in a bit. Overall, the MAC-10 is definitely one of the best medium damage SMGs. I think it's really good, and I think it's really definitely better than most of its medium damage peers, thanks to its high rate of fire, really good concealment, and probably helps that it has the speed pull mag, so it makes certain builds work pretty well. And I'd say this is also a viable weapon on the highest difficulty. But sadly, this weapon is actually not my favorite, and I don't think it's not even on my top 5 SMGs. It's pretty good. I gotta say, it's a pretty good SMG, but I just really, I don't know, I just really can't find a reason why it's not my, like, top 5 or at least top 5 SMGs. It probably due to comes to many factors with the other weapons in game. And it's probably considering that very bare bone attachment that it has. I mean, sure, it has some unique barrel extensions, a suppressor, has a speed pole mag, and it does make it more unique that you have a speed pole mag that also increases your magazine capacity, and it doesn't decrease concealment. So this is a really good SMG to have. I say this is very effective with the akimbo version as well. So if you're looking for a weapon that has high concealment, a very high rate of fire, and does a good medium damage, and you want it for your akimbos, the MAC-10 is definitely up there for you. And well, I did play a little bit much. At first, I thought this was definitely the second worst submachine gun in Payday 2, but after they give a few attachments and, well, more playtime with it, I definitely gotta take back what I said. This is definitely not the second worst weapon or worst SMG. It's definitely up there. I say this is, to me, I would probably rank it as a definitely more of a definitely an A tier submachine gun. Plus, you start with this weapon by default, and plus, it's pretty cheap too to get because you could definitely see the price is a lot better. It's probably the second, well, second cheapest submachine gun to buy, next to the ZZ85, and yeah, it's pretty crazy. And when I try to compare to the other stats for the other SMGs, bear in mind I have fully loaded with this, so it doesn't make sense. But when I compare to the others, the MP7 definitely had a little bit better accuracy, but in terms of rate of fire, this weapon kind of wins it out. And when it comes to its bigger brother, the Mac 11 definitely has a little more faster, more accurate, more stability. Bear in mind, this is on the base weapon. Of course, with the right attachments, it will be different, but of course, the concealment, they're not really the greatest. The Tommy gun, it blows the Tommy gun. And you want to know, if I would have said this was the second worst SMG, what is the absolute worst? Well, it's below the MAC-10, which is the Tommy gun. But that was me back then. Like, I think a couple years ago when I say this was the second worst SMG. But nope, it really changed. It's definitely one of the more viable SMGs. Sadly, I can't say the same for the Tommy gun, but you see, same damage, same accuracy, but sure it has a larger magazine and a little more stability, but the concealment, ooh, that hurts. Compared to the KV-23B, oh my god, like, look at this. How is this fucking balanced? I mean, yes, you do have, like, different magazine options, and you can make more flexible with the attachments you have. I think this one has more attachments than the MAC-10. But that's just crazy. And then we have the SR2, which, honestly, if the MAC-10 is even better than this gun, surprisingly. And of course, it just has one extra more concealment. And it has a speed pull mag. And now we come to the other ones. The P90, I mean, yeah, doesn't look the best compared to the two, but of course the P90 does have some other attachment, plus it's very good. The Vector basically beats everything out except for total of ammo and magazine. And that's basically it for the medium damage SMGs. I'm not trying to compare it to the high damage and low damage SMGs because they're very different categories. So I always try to compare it with the same damage. But yeah, that's about it of the MAC-10. Definitely a versatile SMG. It's a definitely versatile one. It's really good all-arounder. A good beginning gun. But it's also heavily downsided because you definitely had to buy the DLCs to get the attachments. Especially you had to buy a different game to get the barrels extensions. And I forgot one more thing. You can see the barrel. You can see there's like rims around it. That's where you place the suppressor around it. That's where you twist it, and of course you turn it until it's nice and tightly, so it doesn't loose off. But yeah, that's basically it for the Mac 10. Sorry for, well, the conclusion being this long, but I did want to cover up of the gun. But definitely a fun SMG, though not part of my favorite SMG. But thank you for watching, everyone. Until next time, farewell, and have a wonderful day, everyone.